Hello, I'm out of Sulfridge at Liberty University, and I invite you today to join me in exploring the Tampa Bay history here at the Tampa Bay History Center.
The Tampa Bay History Center is an accredited association by the American Alliance of Museums and affiliated with the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. The center also features exhibits that explore 12,000 years of Florida's history from its earliest inhabitants to its contemporary role as a major port and tourism hub, educating thousands of visitors each year about Florida history, and specifically Tampa history as a rising industrial and cultural center.
Today I'm here at the Tampa Bay History. One temporary exhibit that will be showcased here from March the 3rd, 2025 to August 3rd is titled Invisible Immigrants, Spaniards in the U.S. from 1868 to 1945. This highly acclaimed exhibit toured Spain for 5 years in 3 different cities before arriving here at the U.S. and making its home here in Tampa Bay. It reveals the largely hidden history of the Spanish American population at the turn of the 20th century through the careful curation of countless artifacts, photographs, and documents contributed by the generous families and descendants of those who helped to build Tampa into the multicultural and flourishing city it is today. The goal of this exhibit is to honor the men, women, and children who immigrated to the U.S. during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. However, while here in Tampa, the exhibition highlights the role of Spaniards who helped build Tampa into the flourishing city it is today.
When Spanish explorer Ponce de Leon first arrived in Florida in 1513, he and his companions largely left the western half of the state alone, focusing on colonizing and establishing the eastern coast as a Spanish colony.
Later on, after the American Civil War, Tampa Bay and its surrounding area boomed with industry and agriculture. Thus, with the boom came the need for many workers to grow the economy. By the 1880s, many Spanish Americans had already immigrated to the U.S., and more began arriving in Tampa Bay to meet that demand. As a result, various industries such as phosphate mining and cigars, trade through railroads and shipping, agriculture, including many citrus fruits, like Florida's famous oranges, and recreation with the construction of hotels like Henry B. Plant's Tampa Bay Hotel began to establish the city as one of the most rapidly growing and prosperous in the nation. Nevertheless, this exhibit showcases over a decade of collaboration and research to educate the public on the history of Spanish American culture and impact on the U.S. For example, many of the photographs showcase families who began businesses or worked in flourishing companies that helped expand Tampa industry and trade, providing unique products and experiences many in the U.S. had previously been unfamiliar with. The Ybor district is one of the most prominent areas of Tampa Bay, which benefited from the businesses of trading commodities such as cigars and the developing recreational focus in Tampa with its construction of many hotels and the ever expanding railroads, which brought goods from the north and visitors to Tampa's tropical climate of the south. Additionally, individuals such as Robert Martinez, who served as the city's mayor from 1979 to 1986, was the governor of Florida from then until 1991. He can attribute his success to the hard work of Spanish immigrant family.
One photograph on display depicts his mother Ida as a child alongside her parents who had immigrated from Spain and who had come to the U.S. to find work at the turn of the century.
According to Romney Kite Powell of the Tampa Bay History Center, Martinez visited the exhibit upon its opening in March and was surprised to find the photograph, which he had never seen before. It's stories like these that truly highlight the importance of local history and the cultural preservation which comes with it. Local history often tends to be overlooked by those visiting an area as well as those who live there. Therefore, the exhibit and exhibitions, temporary and permanent, like many others across the United States and globe, allow individuals and families to connect with their roots of their community and families. We all feel more connected to a place and with ourselves when we are knowledgeable about our history and our place in it.
As a native Kentuckian, the history of Tampa and Florida in general was rather foreign to me when I first arrived in 2018. However, with the exploration of historical sites, museums, and history centers like this, I have been able to educate myself on the state and city's history. As visitors walk through the exhibit, they learn that the Spanish immigrants who made the long journey to America were fleeing from the lack of opportunity, from obligatory military service, and government corruption in Spain. These families dreamt of potentially returning to their home country one day, but this was not possible for many, and others chose to remain in Florida and other places in the United States, such as New York, for various reasons.
They crossed the ocean with uncertain futures and hope for a better life for themselves and their family. Like many immigrants who arrived in the US from all over the world, they were not alone. They were merely one group in a million people who came to the United States in search of a better life and the freedom that the US offered. However, this exhibit showcases the courage and bravery of how the immigrants from Spain worked tirelessly to create better lives for themselves. They became construction workers, painters, laborers, seamstresses, and even began numerous businesses of their own. Unfortunately, many Spanish immigrants in the US worked in places in which they were not likely to bring a camera if they had one, or were photographed regularly. Therefore, family archives and business documents are rare and valuable pieces of Tampa history that highlight and provide evidence of the incredible work that these families did. Fortunately, the Burger brothers, which were Tampa's leading commercial photographic firm for decades, documented the factories where thousands of immigrants transformed the city into the cigar capital of the world.
As Tampa expanded, so did the industries driven largely by hardworking Spanish immigrant families. Suburbs such as Plant City became known for citrus fruits, and Ybor City became the hub for the cigar trade. Nevertheless, business boomed and Tampa was well underway to becoming one of the most essential trade hubs in America by the turn of the 20th century.
These industries in agriculture, cigar making, construction, and tourism are all still major parts of Tampa's history and modern day business, and modern day economy and culture. Thanks to the work of immigrants such as those from Spain and other nations, we are able to look back on the history of Tampa Bay with pride and encouragement to keep working hard for the future. Thank you.
Nevertheless, education and the preservation of history is vitally important to every community. The conservation of Tampa Bay history connects thousands, if not millions, of lives across Florida, the U.S., and across oceans, as well as through hundreds of years. It's thanks to the historians, local researchers, curators, and local supporters that exhibits like this are able to bring attention to previously unheard stories. Through the collection and preservation of countless photographs, documents, passports, travel papers, clothes, recipes, and other artifacts, we can learn and share our local history beyond the modern lens and connect with history on a deeper level. Therefore, the history of Tampa is rich with diverse cultures, languages, and stories, and the tradition of celebrating its past lives on today. This exhibit, despite being temporary to the museum, has made a lasting impact on educating the public as thousands of visitors have passed through its doors since opening day. It proves that since the earliest days of settlement to the modern day Tampa, the city hasn't stopped growing and won't anytime soon.